Welcome back. You've heard me talk about different styles of homes and why they're so important. When I first started off, I did not know a lot about the styles of homes. I didn't really think much about them. I could see that there were differences, but I didn't realize the important role they played. And when it came time to resell, if a certain style of home sold really well and my home was not that style, well, that affected my sale. The days on market, the price, demand. And so let's jump in and I'll share these with you. The first one here is a Cape Cod, and I'm not going to read all the captions. You can read them if you like, pause them. I might point out a few things. The dormers are what I noticed in Cape Cod style houses, traditional looking and pretty neat. Shingle houses. You can find these in places like Martha's Vineyard, East Hampton, and Tuckett. I was in Connecticut recently and saw them bunch up there. And the shaker shingles, I shake shingles all over the house, and some people like them, some people don't. In certain markets, it's really good. In other markets, you would not fly. Art Deco. Now, this house, I'm like, where the heck do I see these? And when I was in Miami, well, that's where you see a bunch of them all over. Very common, different, very unique again. Here's a bungalow or craftsman style house. I like some craftsman style houses. Some of them look really good, have some neat character. The wood, stone, brick, natural materials, wide front porches, low pitched roofs, pretty common, typical with these. The one on the left has been remodeled. The bottom one's the before and the top's the after on the left side. And the one on the bottom left, we'll see those a lot. You'll see those probably make offers on many houses like that one, because I know I have. And you can see what the after looks like up top. So they have the open floor plan, built-in furniture, very common, big fireplaces, exposed beams. But you can see the character. And if your house that you're trying to comp it with is a box, just a square-looking house with no character, style, how can you compare that to a beautiful craftsman style house? You can't, nor should you. Just because it's a car doesn't mean it's the same car, right? A Ford, Mercedes, or different trucks. You can imagine they matter. So do styles of houses. Here's a contemporary house. I thought it was interesting. Many people consider contemporary and modern architectural to be essentially the same. I know I always did, but people kind of dissect it more. And I don't dissect them that much because I haven't really flipped contemporary or modern or anything like that, but you may in your markets. So be careful and make sure you know the details and compare like to like. Now, Colonial, right? These, you'll see these in lots of markets. Back east a lot too, but I've seen them everywhere. Again, the dormers up top, kind of like the Cape Cod, but very symmetrical, and some neat stuff. Evenly spaced windows, lots of windows up front. Yep. Formal looking house. Dutch Colonial, right? The barn kind of looking house, right? Dutch Colonial, very unique. So it is a formal colonial, but the barn house, and we'll see these sometimes. You'll see them on HGTV or something because they're unique. But they have the dormers up top. Here we have Georgian Colonial. It's the most common type of colonial style is this one right here. You'll see all across what's kind of interesting is they have 5 windows. They say that's the standard, 5 with shutters, 5 windows across the top, shutters. The doors, kind of the columns. I mean, all of those are very thought out, planned. And that's the Georgian Colonial. The Federal Colonial, this one I don't see a whole lot in my flips, or I haven't flipped this style of house, but you might see it in different markets. Again, it has the big wide front stairs. It's like very symmetrical, similar to the Georgian Colonial, but it has the wings off to the side, the grand staircase, the fanned window above. Those are some common characteristics of this style. Mid-century modern. Imagine if you had a log cabin house, right? Not that we're flipping log cabins, but you can never compare it to a mid-century modern. And a person who likes a mid-century modern may not like cabins, and vice versa. French provincial. Greek Revival. You think of large plantations or a very neat looking house. Italiente. The first time I've never seen one of these for a while, and I was driving in wine country with my wife, and what did we see? I point out on, she was off to the right side of the road. I'm like, there's an Italiente house. I finally saw one in wine country up in Sonoma or somewhere up there, and Indiana too. You'll see some. It was surprisingly such drastic difference, but the Italiente house. They have the corbels up top and Mediterranean, very popular. Different parts of the country, balconies, multicolors, and modern, very unique. Prairie, yeah, the Trailblazer Frank Lloyd Wright. Some people like these houses. Just because I don't care for it, remember that's my own biases. If I don't like something, doesn't mean I'm not going to flip the house. If that's what's selling, I'll pick it up all day, every day. Now there's a Pueblo Revival. I see these a lot in Santa Fe, Albuquerque, and if you're in those markets, you can't compare a regular stick-built house to one of these, right? These are very, very unique. Yep, I'll see them in Vegas Ranch, right? Traditional, I think of open floor plan, lots of different access to outdoors. It could be one story a lot of times, but I'll see sometimes that there could still be a two-story ranch, which I think to me doesn't make sense. But they can have that and still be considered a ranch. Townhouses are row houses. I put these in because you'll see these in a lot of different markets. New Jersey, I'll see it. Baltimore, Chicago, DC. Some of the Brookstone houses are really beautiful, but they're all attached, like row houses, and they're easy to comp because guess what your comp is, right? They're exact same square footage as the next door, and so on and so forth down the street. But again, they're attached. Now they're not duplexes, they're not fourplexes, triplex, whatever. They are individually owned, and they're townhouses. So make sure you compare townhouse to townhouse. Tutor. Now I flipped a Tutor before, and I think they have some neat character to them. And again, it depends on your market, where you're at. Whether you like it or not, or do you want to get rid of the Tutor if Tutor style is not selling that well, or you don't think it's great. You can change the front, that decorative half timber framing, take that down and redo it all. But do you want to keep it or not? Well, when in doubt, comp it out. What do all the comps say? Spanish. Now, I had a Spanish home in San Antonio. Loved it. It had a courtyard, a pool, very unique front door, rounded walls. Have some really neat features. And other people don't like them at all. So whether you like them or not, it's just, remember, set that aside, our own biases. If it's Spanish style and that's what's selling, then keep that look. Victorian, right? These are classic. And again, to anchor the point in, you cannot compare a regular square house to a very unique Victorian house. Yeah, which one would you rather buy, a Victorian or just a box-looking house? But it's the same square feet. I get it. Same year built. Sure is. Yep. Same bed baths. It's sold within 30 days. It's on the same street. See, so it passes all the big five, but it does not compare. You can't compare a Ford to a Mercedes or for cars, but they're both cars. Yep. But the styles of the house is a big difference. A cottage style house, kind of a curved entryway, gravel or brick front walk. Sometimes I'll see brick in front of the house or some stone in front of the house. Farmhouse, right? The traditional classic farmhouse. My business partner Tony has a 1800 something farmhouse in Pennsylvania. Beautiful. Shotgun. I threw these in because New Orleans, you'll see them in different parts. You'll see them still up north, and there are some of these in Chicago, and they were back in the day. The history behind them was pretty neat. They were more of a more poverty kind of houses, but now they've made such a surge and have some amazing character. I like some of them a lot. In New Orleans, I've looked at a bunch, and they have. Sometimes they were renting out one. They would do doubles, they called them, instead of a duplex, and they'd be a little bit wider than this. Some of they would rent out, but they would do Airbnb on the one side and live in the other. New Orleans put a moratorium on Airbnbs because so many people were doing that. But some neat character, some neat look. Some of them have 11-foot ceilings on the inside. And one warning I would give you on these, if you're flipping these houses, if your house is only 8-foot ceiling and all your comps are 11-foot ceilings or 10-foot ceilings, those are not the same. Having that extra 2-3 feet ceiling makes a huge difference on what they're gonna buy, how it's gonna sell. This is a neat house, right? Some people, these are their favorite houses. Storybook house. The roof is uneven. It's meant to be that way. The windows don't match. Cobblestone, and it's like straight out of a fairy tale. You know, the one on the left definitely, and the one on the right more of a modern day one. I think the one on the right, they said it was used in Clueless. So that photo, I don't remember that, but that's my favorite show, of course. Who doesn't love Clueless? I'm joking, so don't string me up for that one. If you love it, good for you. Maybe you remember this house. I don't. Which made again things mismatched. These took hold in California is where they started, and they branched out from there. I'll still see some around California, Southern California, and maybe you've seen them in some other markets. This house I've seen a lot when I'm helping investors and even myself. My very first house I ever bought was a split entry house like this. There's different variations of split entry, split level, tri-level. Uh, they were common. The one I bought was built in 70 or 83. It was my very first home I bought at 25 years old, investment property, a HUD foreclosure. And I picked it up and for 117.5. I remember that first one because it was my first deal that got me started. And split entry houses are what I've seen across the US. They're not, people don't crave them and want them because whenever you walk in, there's the landing. You can kind of see on the left-hand side, the photo on the left, and there's stairs going up and stairs going down. Sometimes I've seen the stairs flip-flopped where the stairs going up is on the left and stairs going down is on the right to the basement. And I've seen these sell really hot because the location they're in. They're not the most popular style. They're popular because they were built a ton of them back in 70s, 80s. I think a lot of them that I've seen, maybe even 60s, that I've ran into with pulling comps and helping investors across the U.S. But this style of house is, again, unique where you don't want to comp it to a regular two-story house or this has the basement and that's below grade. That's underground, even though it has the big windows and, they're all egress. So that's great, but still appraisers won't appraise a split entry or split level house the same as they will a house that's all above grade. So be very careful again on the style of houses. And to recap, I wanted to show you this pictures on this last slide. Brick houses too. Brick houses, you need to pay very close attention because in certain markets, I've seen brick houses sell for more than just a stick-built house. And this is the same house. This is before and after photos. And normally I don't like to paint brick a lot, but sometimes it's absolutely worth it. And in this case, look at how much better the house looks by painting the brick, get some nice cedar columns. They put some planter boxes in the windows, which I usually don't do, but the shutters, just some neat character versus the before photo. So be careful with brick. I've seen them sell for 50K more in markets, and Florida cinder block houses. Again, I've seen some of those that people prefer them because of the strong winds. You don't have moisture problems and termites. So you need to know your markets, pay attention to that. If certain stick built or your house is a stick built house, well, try not to compare it with any brick houses because that may not be a comparison. That may not be like to like anymore. So be very careful, big warning there. And recap is the different styles of houses matter. Comps need to be similar style as the subject property. So again, if it's a one-story, compare it with a one-story ranch to ranch, and all the different ones. I'm not going to go back and name them all. I don't know, 30 different styles of houses that we covered. So good luck. I hope this helped, and dive in.